never be a memory.
And what's going on, Read My Lips people? We are back. So I took a quick 3-day hiatus to sort of let everything soak in. I mean, we were all pretty devastated with the news that Andrew Yang had suspended his campaign, and it was tough. It was a tough couple of days. You know, I spoke to Russ. We had a 45-minute to an hour long conversation, which a lot of you tuned in for and viewed the video afterwards, and I'm greatly appreciative of it. But yeah, it was, a rough couple days. So I took some 3 days off, some time to myself. But we're back, and we got Yang news. The truck don't stop here. So first thing I'll start off with. Apparently, Andrew Yang emailed us on behalf of the DNC. What does that mean? What am I talking about? On behalf of the DNC? Explain. Okay, I will. So, what has been sent out and what reports are saying and what newspapers are saying and what a lot of, journalists are saying is that Andrew Yang has a new mission. They say the Democratic entrepreneur may have dropped out. Now, that wording isn't accurate, right? He suspended his campaign, which is entirely different from dropping out. But there's a lot of people wording it as dropping out. But they say he's dropped out of the presidential race after primary votes closed in New Hampshire on Tuesday, but he's still all in for the Democrats. He sent an email on behalf of the Democratic National Committee soliciting donations on Thursday. A slightly unexpected move for the man who was a bit of an outlier in the 2020 field. In his email, Yang acknowledged the enthusiasm, dedication, and commitment he'd seen from the backers throughout his campaign and said the support of his Yang gang showed the issues he stood for are real and urgent. But while the numbers did not add up for me to win this race, Yang says he's going to still fight to make sure Democrats win in every corner of the country this year. He closed his email by asking for donations to the DNC's Unity Fund that will help elect Democrats from the bottom of the ticket to the top. So, look, I appreciate what Yang's doing. Yang has come out many times and said, he'll back whoever the Democratic primary winner is in an effort to defeat Donald Trump. And I have no doubt, he truly believes the things he says he does and stands for, his beliefs that he's showed us all throughout his campaign. And he's always been a humanity first kind of guy. That's just what it is. Even when that's us, the Yang gang, and I've seen it. I know we get on the Bernie Bros quite often, but we're not always humanity first either. This is just the fucking truth. But he himself has always represented that. Even when some of us wanted him to be aggressive. Not everybody, but some of us wanted him to be aggressive. Wanted him to get at people. He was always humanity first, and he always carried himself so graciously and civilly. So I 100% believe this email. I received this email as well. The thing is, the Yang gang doesn't quite work that way. Which it's weird because we're all on Team Yang, but our personalities are so askew quite often from some of the things that is put out there from Yang, like this. 46%, I believe it's 42 or 46% say they'll never vote for anybody else but Andrew Yang, right? I don't see majority of the Yang gang donating to the DNC who didn't help Yang at all in any of these issues he was having throughout the primary race. I don't see them donating to this unity fund. The DNC is the absolute opposite of unity. We see through their bullshit every day, all the time. So I admire and I love the spirit of the email that was sent out. But yeah, the Yang Gang just not doing that. As a matter of fact, from what I see, there's many Yang Gang that aren't even accepting Yang's resignation. There's a lot of Yang Gang that says, I'm writing them in and I'm still going to keep putting Yang. There's an actual effort, an actual movement to continue to put Yang in these races, even though he suspended his campaign. Like, he don't got a choice in the matter. Like that vote blue no matter what bullshit is donezo. They still want Yang. They have spoken, and they're putting him in. And I respect it. If you look at the last video I did, not the one with Russ, but the one before that where I announced he suspended his campaign, I said, I'm not for that vote blue no matter what bullshit. You vote for the candidate that best represents your ideals, the candidate that best speaks to your morals and what you believe in. And for all those people, for a lot of those people, it's Andrew Yang. And they can't stomach themselves voting for anybody else. So, no. A lot of people don't accept Yang's resignation. A lot of people are not going to be donating to the DNC's Unity Fund. And they don't care about the other people at the bottom of the ticket to get to the top. They want Andrew Yang. I've read countless comments of people saying, I can't stomach another 4 years of this bullshit, let alone 8 years. So I thought it was an interesting email. I thought it was interesting how the DNC is all now like, yeah, look, Yang is saying donate to, you see Yang? You guys like Yang? He's saying to donate to us. You didn't fucking take him serious. You never backed him. You never backed him. When he brought you concerns about him getting into the Democratic debate, you said, fuck off. You didn't want to hear that shit. Bloomberg gives you $1 million, $100K a pop for 3 of your branches, the rest to another affiliation of the DNC. He gives you guys $1 million. You know what? Fuck it. Let him on the debate. Let him on the debate stage. Fuck out of here. It's not happening. There's no unity. By unity, what you mean is, here is the candidate that we have cherry-picked for you. You all unify with the candidate that we want. You tried that shit with Hillary Clinton. There's no unity in the DNC. Cut it the fuck out. Okay? So, that's not happening. Now, there's been talk and questions because since Yang has dropped out, they've been talking about this guy nonstop. Have you noticed that? They got his name right now. They know his name now. They know it's not Jeff Yang. They got it right now. What the fuck happened when he was running? You couldn't even get his goddamn picture right. Now he suspended his campaign and it's, oh, Yang. Gracious Yang. Oh, Yang. We love Yang. What the fuck was this before? But people have been asking, like, who is Yang going to endorse? Who's Andrew Yang going to endorse? Well, Andrew Yang is going to endorse the person that supports UBI. Maybe. What do I mean by maybe? Tulsi Gabbard has come out in support of UBI. Yang has not officially endorsed her. Now, they're friends, and a lot of people in the Yang gang like Tulsi Gabbard. I like Tulsi Gabbard. She was my number 3. And, you know, they've always wanted to see a Yang-Tulsi ticket or Tulsi and Yang in some capacity. But some people's theory is that Yang's not endorsing Tulsi. Who is endorsing UBI? Because he knows there's no path to the nomination for her. So what some people are saying is Yang wants Bernie to adopt UBI and then he'd endorse Bernie. Because let's just be honest, none of these other people are going to endorse it. And if they, by some chance they did, they're not being an honest actor. They're completely lying. Pete Buttigieg suddenly says, I'm for UBI. If Amy Klobuchar's like, I just spoke to the manager, I like UBI, it's bullshit. If Tom Steyer says he's for UBI, yeah, I just want to know, do the black people like UBI? I just want to know if they like UBI first. It's bullshit. If Bloomberg suddenly says he's for UBI, you tried to ban big gulps. You don't want to give people money. If any of these people say they're for UBI, is bullshit. The only person that I could see genuinely being for UBI would be a Bernie Sanders, but let's just be honest. He used to be for it and he changed his mind on it, and I really don't see him endorsing it, which he's wrong. And even the most honest Bernie Sanders supporters, the biggest Bernie Sanders supporters, know that Bernie's wrong about UBI and that UBI is better than federal jobs guarantee. Even Kyle Kalinske knows this. As a matter of fact, I have a clip from Kyle talking about the situation with UBI, Sanders, and what should happen. Take a look.
So, and listen, I actually feel for the Yang Gang. I do, because I know the feeling that they have right now. I experienced the same thing in 2016 with Bernie. And you could argue, honestly, in the case of 2016 with Bernie, it was even worse because we know he got cheated by Hillary Clinton. So it was like, it just hurt so much. It just stung. Because it's like, this is total BS, man. This is total BS. So I feel for the Yang Gang. I think Andrew Yang, even though I have some disagreements with him, I think he was a positive impact on this race. Because what he did is he took some conversations that were happening on the fringes and made them mainstream. He made universal basic income a serious issue to discuss. I have nothing but respect for him for that because I support universal basic income. Decriminalizing all drugs, that's a position he took before anybody else. Now, Tulsi Gabbard has since leapfrogged him on that and said, I want to legalize, tax, and regulate all drugs. That's even better in my opinion. But Andrew Yang was the first one to talk about decriminalizing all drugs at all. In fact, Bernie was asked about that, and he was like, I'm not there yet. In other words, he knows that his position is wrong, but he thinks it's what he has to do to say to get elected, so he's saying it. Andrew Yang was like, no, I'll just tell you what the right thing is. I want to decriminalize all drugs. Nothing but credit for him for that. Again, I have disagreements with him. On Israel-Palestine, I think he's been off. On Medicare for All, really upset with him over that because he says he supports Medicare for All, but then also admits, no, I'm not going to support the actual legislation Medicare for All, but I'm going to say that my plan is Medicare for All, even though it's not Medicare for All. So I had disagreements with him, but overall, I was happy he was in the race because, and here's the main point, he actually believes in what he's talking about. He's not this empty suit, vapid careerist like so many of the establishment politicians. And as a result of that, he leapfrogged so many of these establishment politicians. Guys, remember, 538 had Beto O'Rourke. 538 had Kamala Harris as number one and number two. I'm not sure which order, but they were number one and number two as to who's likely to win this primary. Andrew Yang outlasted both of them. So, he actually got people involved in the political process that weren't involved before. And they realize, oh, hold on now. Everything is political, and maybe we can actually do better. Maybe we could actually bring people into this election, bring people into the process that mean well and want to make positive change. So again, nothing but respect for Andrew Yang on that front. Now, here's what he said. This is interesting. He says, if any Democratic candidate wants his endorsement, they need to come out in favor of universal basic income. Now, if you guys remember, I spoke about that recently, and I said to Bernie's team, I'm calling on you to talk to Andrew Yang, and if you endorse UBI, he will endorse you, I think. I said that before the dropout, and I think my instincts were correct. I think that, if the Bernie team talks to Andrew Yang and they say, listen, we'll endorse UBI, I think he would drop out and endorse Bernie. And I actually tend to agree on this issue. I agree with Yang more than Bernie. When Bernie says my position is a federal jobs guarantee and Yang says my position is universal basic income, I actually agree with Yang over Bernie on that issue. So I hope that they sit down, and I hope Bernie and his team endorse universal basic income. But here's what's interesting. The day after Andrew Yang drops out, the day after New Hampshire, Tulsi Gabbard releases a video and says the following. And listen, I get it, man. We were there in 2016 with Bernie Sanders when the nomination was stolen from him. I know exactly what it feels like. So I feel for the Yang Gang people. And I get what Tulsi's doing is politically savvy, trying to get all the Yang Gang people to her team. But what I will say to Tulsi is, you have no path. So ultimately, this could be like a very nihilistic move, where it's like you did this thing and then it comes to naught. And the final thing I'll say is this. If I was Tulsi, I would be thinking about the future, running for president in the future. And, you know, you don't want to get 1% or 2% in all 50 states, because then that really impacts the perception of electability in the future, too. If she drops out now, or if she drops out in 1 or 2 more states, really no harm, no foul. There's so many people who ran that did worse than Tulsi. So people, it's not, the next time an election comes around, nobody's going to be thinking about the fact that she didn't do that well. But if you stay in for 50 states and every state is 1%, 2%, 1%, 2%, people are going to be like, oh, so you're the person who got obliterated but decided to keep getting punched in the face. That's weird. And again, I'm saying this as somebody with nothing but love for Tulsi and her supporters. But, you know, the other part of my commentary, I think, should be, and has to be, because it's only fair, hey man, Yang's point is totally fair. This is my main policy, universal basic income. If you support it, then I will endorse you. So Tulsi came out and supported it. Now, my guess is Yang understands right now that Tulsi's not viable. She has no path. So what he's doing is like seeing that she endorsed UBI, and he's going, Bernie, could you please frickin' come out and endorse UBI so I can endorse you? Because you actually can win. So that's what I think is happening, truth be told. Because Yang says, hey, I'll only consider endorsing people who endorse UBI. Okay, well, Tulsi did it. So why now it's the day after. Why is Yang not out there already saying, like, oh, I endorse Tulsi? Because Yang knows she has no path to the nomination, and he would want his endorsement to mean something. So he's probably waiting on Bernie, like, come on, what are you doing? Endorse UBI. And on that issue, I totally agree. And I would say to Bernie and his team, bro, do it. Endorse UBI. It is not the idea that the problem is Bernie might actually not believe in it. He might actually believe in universal jobs guarantee, and he just doesn't support UBI. But, you know, I think the arguments for UBI are much stronger, and I think it's a better policy, and I think he should endorse it.
So look, man, you know, everybody clamoring for an Andrew Yang endorsement and things along those lines. Unless you're adopting UBI and you're genuine about it, it's not happening. The only other way Andrew Yang will push for you is if you become the Democratic nominee. Now, it's looking like that's Sanders. It's looking like if you were to look at the numbers, even Nate Silvers has said it, who is not a Sanders fan, it looks like Sanders is going to win this thing by all rights. You know, there's no clear path of nomination for Pete. You know, he falls off a cliff after New Hampshire. Warren is sinking her campaign. She sunk it. It's a ship that's just plummeting into the water. She's changed her whole way she runs. She's now a pandering, woman power, lying, smearing politician. And people aren't going to deal with her. Bloomberg's bought his way deeply into this race, which it really bothers me. Anybody that's been following this should be bothered that Bloomberg has managed to do what he's been able to do by throwing a smorgasbord of money into this thing. And anybody with the philosophy is that Bloomberg has a lot of money. Money beats Trump. That literally that's not how it works. It's not. Having a lot of money doesn't, by definition, make you able to defeat Trump. Trump actually has the highest approval rating he's had since he came into office. But his approval rating now is bigger than the day he got put into office, since the day he became president. It was like 49%, the highest it's ever been. And I'm sure now, if you were to check it right now, he's tipped over 50. Trump is not going to be an easy president to defeat. You know, people say Bernie Sanders has no chance. That's bullshit. I get it. A lot of people don't like Bernie Sanders in the Yang Gang. I completely understand. Look, we've pulled Republicans into the Yang Gang. We have people that don't agree with Bernie's philosophy. I completely understand that. But every poll shows, and every graphic shows, and even Andrew Yang admitted that Bernie falls flat against Trump. But they're dead even. While everybody else gets obliterated. Even though at one point it showed Biden defeating Trump, but that's quickly plummeted. Bernie's locked even. So Bernie would have the best shot out of everybody there now that Yang's gone. The best shot. And even that is incredibly iffy, edge of your seat. I wouldn't put money on it. I don't know how this is going to go. We probably got in 4 more years of Trump kind of scenario, because Trump is going to be incredibly hard to beat. So it just makes me incredibly sad that Yang's suspended his campaign. But look, there is a movement right now to continue to get Andrew Yang to go for the presidential nomination. We have not given up, and I love it. The last 3 days, I've seen the support. I've seen people coming up with incredible ideas and uplifting other people. And it was sad at first, but it's only lit a fire under our asses. And I dig it. I am incredibly happy and satisfied with everyone and with what they've been doing. So, look, keep doing what you're doing. I'll keep covering Yang news. I'm back. That 3-day hiatus was what it was. And I will continue to pump out what is going on with Andrew Yang, where he's at, what's going on with the write-ins. And let's see if we can get a path to victory. Look, at some point during the last couple of days, I saw there was a divide. There was a small divide in the Yang Gang. I don't know if you've noticed. But there was some Yang Gang that were saying, look, I'm going to Sanders. Like, not that I, want Sanders necessarily, but I'm going to Sanders, and, he's, the next best choice. And then there was some Yang Gang that was saying, I'd rather have 4 years of Trump. Let's get this Trump thing in there, because so maybe they can learn their lesson. I understand both those theories. And again, I specifically said don't vote blue no matter what. That's just my personal preference. It's my personal opinion. But I respect both of those ideas. But the one I respect the most has been the effort to continue to write Yang's name in, and just to say, I don't accept your resignation. That is incredible. That is awesome. That is awesome. So, yeah, I'm with it. Let's write Yang in, and let's show them we mean business. You're not going to get our vote willy-nilly. It's just not happening. Much respect, guys. If you like what you see, if you like what you hear, please like, comment, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. If you don't, let me know in the comment section why. I'm always down to talk about it. I have a Cash App, a PayPal, and a Venmo link in the description below. Please feel free to donate to my channel. Every little bit helps. Hopefully I'll be talking to you guys soon. Have a good one. Peace.
Run free and dive into the sky. Hear the wind crying out its prayer. Why are we so ashamed to be alive?